Hello, welcome to the Warframe Collective. Today we are taking a look at Limbo because Limbo is good at one thing and one thing only, and that is looting. Limbo does have some abilities, but unfortunately, all of his abilities evolve around either being in the rift or pulling enemies into the rift, and his passive ability allows him to enter the rift automatically. But none of that matters. What we're focusing on today is Limbo's fourth ability, which is Cataclysm, because Cataclysm happens to be the best looting ability in the game, and it is even better than Necros depending on what you are farming. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, but Necros this, Necros that. Well, the thing is, for a lot of new players, Necros is hard to get. And then on top of that, when you get Necros's parts, I think it's like 100,000 credits to build Necros, which can be kind of difficult for a new player. Whereas Limbo, Limbo's parts can be obtained during one of the main quests. So everybody should probably have a spare Limbo just sitting around in their vault somewhere. So this is going to be the build we are running on Limbo. This is a zero forma build. The key to this build is just to have maximum range and a decent efficiency. If you have an arcane energize, that would help. But if you don't necessarily need it as long as you have a really good efficiency. And the reason you don't need it is because as you're using Limbo's fourth ability, you're going to be accumulating so much loot that energy is not going to be a problem to maintain. But this is the build I am running for this. Now, typically, I like to use Limbo on the open world, especially when I'm gathering resources on Fortuna or Deimos. Although on Fortuna, it doesn't work as well as it works on Deimos. So as you can see, we're just gonna run around and we're gonna spam Limbo's fourth ability. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna crack open all of the loot crates in the area. That way we can just run around and scoop them up. Also, I should have said this in the beginning, but you wanna make sure you have a companion that is running vacuum and animal instincts. Also, at the time of recording this, there was an event resource booster, and I had also got a freaking resource booster from the daily rewards. So some of the resource accumulation you're gonna see is not actually indicative of the amount of resources that you would normally get. So keep that in mind. But having said that, it's still by far the most effective way to farm most resources. Eat your heart out, Necros. And I'm not shitting on Necros. Necros is great if you need to farm something specific and you have a long ass time to do it, and you have, I don't know, a fucking greedy pool mag and a goddamn hydroid tentacle monster to aid you in the loot drops. But Limbo, Limbo is just great for resource gathering in general. I had started a new player testing account, and I was absolutely astounded at how hard it was to accumulate plastic and how hard it was to accumulate neurodes. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't remember having this problem when I first started, but when I first started, it was a really long time ago, and the planets, they were aligned differently. Hell, if you needed XP, you just go over to Draco on Ceres and you were all good. But nowadays things have changed, and so we must change with the times. So if you need resources to build something that requires resources from the open world, a zone loot Limbo is easily the way to go. especially on Deimos, because all of these little red tiny pupil things you see everywhere, a lot of those things contain rare resources. And so, as you can see, by simply spamming his fourth ability everywhere, I get rare resources to drop like it's nobody's business. And this is how I farmed a lot of resources when it came to leveling up with the father on Deimos. But yeah, and this run took us about 3 minutes. As you can see, 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And this is all the resources we were able to accumulate in that time. And keep in mind, there is an event resource booster. So that's topping me off just a little bit. This is also a great method to farm resources on the Zarmon. I use the zone loop limbo method to farm most of my void plumes on the Zarmon. I literally just run around while I have that loot detector active, and I crack open all of the crates on the map. And usually the resource that's left behind, that's the resource that you have to manually pick up. But yeah, Limbo helped me get from rank 0 all the way to maximum rank on the Zarmon just by collecting those little void plume things. What I will say about the Zarmon is if you are doing this with Limbo, you gotta be careful because Limbo is just not that tanky at all and he can get melted really quick, man. So if you do decide to do zone loot Limbo on the Zarmon, just keep in mind that you might need a little bit more survivability than you currently have. A good way to subvert that is to subsume an ability that will give you some more survivability. Or if you're like me, subsume Acid Shuriken, that way you can strip armor, but it's all on you. Next, we're going to be moving on to the Void, and this is actually one of my better runs. I'm sure we've all been through a situation where you go to the Void because you need one Argon crystal or you need two, and it just never drops for you, and you're running Necros and everything. Well, with the Zone Loot Limbo, I would say that I get Argon crystals 90% of the time on my first run, and it doesn't turn into some bullshit where I have to keep repeating the mission over and over again. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna just let this play and enjoy the run. And at the end of the run, you'll see how many Argon crystals I was able to accumulate because it ends up being something ridiculous. But keep in mind, we do have that resource booster buffing us a little bit.
Mission complete. The captive has been escorted to the extraction point. Well done.
You see right here, I go back and I tag that Argon crystal because oftentimes if people are coming to the Void, they're coming to the Void for one reason. So just in case my teammates needed that Argon crystal, I made sure to go back and tag it. And there it is, guys. As you can see, that took us 5 minutes and 24 seconds, and we got a astounding 16 argon crystals. And like I said, most likely that won't be your experience because right now I have boosters on boosters on boosters, ironically. So realistically, on that run, you would have only gotten 4. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you guys for watching my content. I really appreciate it. Do me a favor at this point and just have yourselves a beautiful day. Thank you so much. This is Remo Yes Man. Peace.